Good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're ready to enjoy your day, and I hope you get to live the life you imagined. Today, I want to talk about how I was able to overcome some systemic obstacles that a lot of people, like me, faced. And those include, having been like in juvenile hall or even youth authority for some folks, um, including myself. Um, so in my community, a lot of my friends, homies, people that some of them, they quit going to school like in the 7th and 8th grade. Some spent their time going to school in juvenile hall or the boys ranch or other types of places like that. And then others, dressed in the clothes that were the style of the day and were often branded as even gang attire, and a lot of people weren't. They just liked the style. And today you see it's really popular. So a lot of folks like that, including myself, um, didn't have the job skills or the education to compete for a lot of good paying jobs, and even maybe not so good paying jobs that were competitive. Where I come from, the janitor at the school is a fat come up. You're rich. It's nothing to be looked down upon. It's a good opportunity to provide for your family, and so those kind of jobs, um, opportunities were had for like any homeboy. They knew they could go to this one nonprofit, La Familia Counseling Center, and they would get a job. And La Familia would place folks in janitorial jobs at schools, and these were the homies. And because the jobs were subsidized employment, the federal government was subsidizing that employment. Then folks got like a free employee, and the homie got work experience and a job. It paid minimum wage, but they knew that if they showed up how they like to dress, it was going to be okay. And then once they got the job, I got a job at a body shop once, and they bought me the tools I needed to like do body prep and whatnot, and coveralls and a mask and sanding blocks, and so those opportunities, um, they're out there. And I looked it up before I made this video, and I ended up finding those kind of opportunities under something called subsidized employment. So with that Google term, right away I got a bunch of hits that came up, and one was for the local county here, and it's like the jobs they listed included, administrative assistant, office jobs, warehouse jobs, a whole bunch of different kinds of jobs, and you go to the training and you can get them. So, all the homies knew about this place, and I knew about them since high school. My first jobs were in fast food, and when I found them, one of the homies put me up on them. I went over there and they got me a job that was a lot less greasy than fast food. I was young. I didn't want to. I don't know. I wanted a cool job, and so they got me one. And when I quit Carl's Jr., I told everybody, "Hey, you guys should go check out this place." They hooked me up with this cool job, and so, you know, 30 years later, I'm back at an event that this nonprofit is putting on, and I see someone there that worked with me at Carl's Jr. And I saw a homeboy actually before that. And I asked him, "Hey, what's up? What are you doing here?" I had my kids there. They were playing at this crazy playground they got where people donate furniture, and like little ass kids be having tools to like tear them down and build them into whatever they want. It's pretty neat. And we were actually there. This like is to kind of combat the story on creating a welfare state when you help people. I was there because I was donating to La Posada. I brought some gifts, and I wanted my kids to play with the other kids in the community because we didn't live there no more. It's up the street, 10 minutes, but here you cross the street and you're in a whole different world. The most thugged out neighborhoods share a zip code with the richest neighborhoods sometimes. And so, I saw the homie, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "Oh, I just came to kick it and have my kids play with the other kids." And he's like, "Yeah, man, I came to get some of these gifts from La Posada because they help at Christmas." And I was like, "Oh, damn," I saw that it's good to give back because it might be your homies getting helped. And then later I hear my name called, and it's this lady, and she was the homie, and she comes up, gives me a hug, asks how I'm doing. I tell her that I'm doing pretty good, and I ask what are you doing here? And she says, "Hey, when you quit Carl's Jr. and told us about it, I went over there, and they got me placed in a state building, and the folks at the state liked me, and so they helped me get a job there, and I got a career out of it. And so because I'm grateful for that, I'm here giving back." And that shit blew my mind because this is 30 years later, and that's two of us who were there giving back because of these liberal policies that allowed us to work in offices with government funding. And it's to work, it's not just giving money. I get when folks say you're just giving money to people and they don't have to work, but this was for job training. And part of the story is how I was able to overcome some obstacles and succeed in a lot of ways. And so I thought that was really impressive work on the part of the nonprofit because to instill that kind of loyalty in people for what you did for them is huge. So anyways, they over the course of my at-risk youth years, because that's who they were trying to help, was at-risk youth. And it's a government label that determines funding that's tied to legislation. I qualified because I was young and brown and I lived in the hood. And so one of the places they put me at was in the mailroom of a state agency. And I would go there with like Ben Davis clothes on, creased up. I called in a couple times because I'd gotten in trouble and I couldn't go to work. But even then, I when I was done with stuff, I would go offer to help other people. Like I was always looking for stuff to do. I was always looking to be helpful. And they gave me some really beautiful letters of recommendation. They told me to go take 6 units of college, even if it was just PE, because then they could hire me immediately as a student assistant while they figured out how to get me on permanently. But no one had ever told me that I would go to college. I didn't think that was for me. I didn't know where to start. And, oh, damn, I missed a piece of glass to clean. No, it's clean. It's still on the thing. And so, damn, that shit made me lose my train of thought. Oh, so I didn't go. I didn't go sign up for college, and for the next couple years, like I barely had uh, two nickels to rub together, and we would kick it, and like some days I would meet up with my homies, and we'd go through our parents' cans, go cash them in, buy the 12-pack, head to the park, kick it. As more people come through, we figure out our day, and that was like our day to day. And then I had a kid, and I thought, man, I gotta set an example. And so I signed up for school before she was born because I thought that would be important. And the first class I took was English 1A. And that's like the class you need to have to be able to get an AA. And then there's two above that, 1B and 1C. One is critical thinking and one is introduction to literature. And I did both of those as well because, I just really liked those English classes. And so anyways, I really liked them. But I also started taking other classes and eventually got an AA in social science. At the same time that I started school, I recognized that a state job would provide stability and a steady income and health benefits and whatnot. And so I applied for the office assistant exam. That is an entry-level exam. You probably need high school math to pass it. Some of the questions do require arithmetic. And so, but it's entry level. You have to score in the top, in a certain percentile, and you get ranked 1, 2, or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But only 1, 2, and 3 can be hired. Once you rank 1, 2, or 3, you start receiving invitations for interviews in the mail. Like you don't even got to really go look for the jobs. They'll come to you. At least that was my experience. And so I was getting all these invites to for job openings, and I went on like 15 interviews, and nobody would hire me. And some of those places were actually maybe a good thing that I didn't get hired because, the morale was pretty bad. In one place, I was actually sitting there waiting for the interview, and someone walks up and they sit next to me and they're like, hey, you can't trust these motherfuckers interviewing you. Be careful with them. There's some backstabbers. And I was like, damn, I ain't even got here yet. And like they already tried to get me caught up in the politics. And so, I was glad I didn't get the job there. Then I interviewed for a mailroom position, and I happened to have those letters of recommendation from the place that the nonprofit put me in through that federal funding to help at-risk youth. And the letters of recommendation I had matched the job description almost to a T, and I got the job. And I was glad because the building, like, I got there and I was like, man, even the 50 and 60-year-olds are like bouncing around looking hella fit and pretty and like doing exercises, running up and down the stairs, like just there was a really good energy there. And the folks were like, they would ask you to do your job, and then when you did it, they were like, thank you so much for doing it, and really grateful. And I was like, what the heck? That was like that's my job. I never expected to get kudos for just doing my job, but that's how it was. And at the time, equity wasn't like talked about as much as it is now, but they had programs for upward mobility, and the people you worked for had to believe in you and support you. And fortunately, I was around like really kind people who did, and so I was able to take advantage of that. And that is called a training and development, where you work in a certain role, and that helps satisfy requirements like a 4-year degree. And so this allowed like really smart. Well, I'm not trying to make myself sound. It allowed a lot of folks who were capable and smart, and had a good work ethic to overcome a systemic obstacle like attending college. A lot of folks, they never hear it's for them. They don't know about some of the things I'm going to talk about coming up. Pell Grants and subsidized student loans that can help someone get through college. So anyways, the upward mobility program, at one point, I was even able to go to school during work hours because it was developing me as a better employee. And provided I passed the course, I was reimbursed for supplies as well. And so that was really helpful. But the actual job duties allow you to go into a classification you wouldn't be qualified for based on education alone. And through that, I was able to join the engineers union, and I'm not an engineer. And so I'll go back to the schooling. So when I started English 1A, I applied for Pell Grants, and these paid for my books and supplies, because books are expensive, and you can't get old books because it's like a racket where they're always being renewed, and you got to get the latest one, and every 3 years there's a latest one. That's how it was for me anyways. And so these Pell Grants like actually paid for the college. Like, it's been free when you look at it that way for a long time, at least at the community college level. I haven't made it past that. And they really help if you're not, you don't have to go full time. It took me, I think, over 12 years to get an AA degree, which is a 2-year degree. And so I took a class here, I took a class there. I took classes that initially interested me at first, and actually through the end I did it. If I needed a science class, I would take political science, or well, I don't know if that would meet that, but like nutrition, which had, most of the people in the nutrition class were people that were aspiring to be nurses or some type of health practitioners. And there was a cool girl in there that kind of saved me at the end with the test, because she really helped me, and kudos to her. So a lot of people helped me, even that girl that helped me with that test, because we were allowed notes, and I didn't show up with none, and she had made me some, and they like helped me ace the test, but we were allowed notes. So anyways, it wasn't cheating, because we were part of a 4-group study group, and we were also assigned to help each other, and I was, just helping me. Anyways, those Pell Grants, when I criticize the government, I would be doing a disservice to not tell you about the good things they do offer, and Pell Grants are some of them. The grants I really like are the ones that benefit individuals who aren't obligated to come back and lift up the government unless they so choose to. And this is one place where I'm choosing to say, these nonprofits and government funding created the opportunities for me to be in a place to criticize the government constructively, in the hopes of seeing them, you know, provide these opportunities for other people. It would be easy for me to say, I made it, anyone can make it. But they might not know about these things that I was able to take advantage of. And they might just not catch the same breaks. You know, I met really kind people where I was at. And, you know, much love to them. And you know, and it shouldn't matter to say this, but truth be told, they were like diehard Republicans. And it was just, they just saw an opportunity to help someone with the tools they had, and they believed it would help. And hopefully, you know, they don't regret it. And I would add that, you know, that government funding, for me anyways, and others that I know of, it really instilled a sense of obligation to give back. Um, I I donate a lot of my time and resources to speaking up against the systemic obstacles and racism that, you know, I believe exists and I see, and that's because I was given all this opportunities. You know, um, it put me in a good place, where I can help others. I can help my family, and and I can help hopefully show others, um, you know, ways to combat the systemic obstacles they face, and that's one of them. So, you know, for starters, if you don't have a job, you don't know where to begin, look up subsidized employment. The whole purpose of that is to break you into um, careers and trainings that can help you do things that, you know, you might not be able to get your foot in the door, absent that. And it might be, you know, you might want to build lowriders. They can help put you in a auto body shop, and you learn how to paint them, and then, you know, they can put you in a welding shop. At least that was the opportunities at the time. I did see a big selection to pick from, and that's a start. And it takes a long time. You know, it's this isn't 1 or 2 years. This is 20 years. But I kind of saw it like, I ain't doing anything anyways. You know, I didn't do nothing for the last 10 years. I might as well go do this, and you know, if I still wanted to hang out with the homies, I would still hang out with the homies. For a long time, you know, I got dropped off to school in lowriders on switches by homies that, you know, they weren't trying to go to college. That wasn't for them. They you know, they wanted to do other stuff, but they believed in me, going to college, and so they took me, and we were still friends. And, you know, I didn't walk away from them and like ignore them. And, you know, when I was successful, I tried to come back and you know, help them in ways that, you know, I could. And sometimes that was just, you know, just oh cool, my other light came on. I didn't know if it was going to come on before I ended the video. And so anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up. I think it's long enough. There are programs out there to help people. If you take advantage of them, hopefully they instill a sense of obligation to, you know, share what worked for you to help others. And oh, I need another filter on this. So I'm gonna do this. Let me see. This is the fish tank. One sponge. Alright, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. again, I hope you have a blessed day. I hope the fish tank was better than my face. And, go look at those subsidized employment with 3 or 4 months that can help get you in the door. If you want to take a college course, go look for Pell Grants. Those can pay for your books. They can pay for your transportation a little bit, maybe bus passes. You get subsidized bus passes if you're a student. All these things can help. And if you're not doing anything anyways, why not? All right, with that said, peace out. Much love.